What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the Bulls' upcoming schedule and why it's going to be time for the Bulls to really make their move if they want to get back in the playoff conversation. We're going to talk about all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
All right, Bulls fans, we know it's been a long, difficult season. It took the Bulls 24 games to get to double-digit wins, but I'm here to tell you guys today why if the Chicago Bulls are going to make their move, if they're going to improve their record, get over 500, get back in that playoff contention, why now is the time to do so. When you look at the teams that we have on our upcoming schedule, right? The Atlanta Hawks, we face twice over the next 10 games. We face the New York Knicks 3 times over the next 10 games. We face the Minnesota Timberwolves. We face the Miami Heat. We face the Houston Rockets and the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, why did I list those teams? I was saying the Dallas Mavericks, who we have coming in town, we have coming in town on Saturday. But the reasons why I list these teams is the Atlanta Hawks. We faced them twice. DeJounte Murray is now going to be out for 2 weeks. This is a time where the Chicago Bulls can take advantage of them missing kind of the glue guy in a way that has kept that team together. On top of that, the Atlanta Hawks are also missing John Collins. They're missing 3 starters right now. Now, are all 3 of those starters going to be missing when the Bulls face the Atlanta Hawks both times? No, but they probably will be missing when the Bulls do face them the first time. Hunter, DeJounte Murray, and John Collins all shape up to be out, at least in the Bulls' first game against the Atlanta Hawks that's coming up here soon. We'll see what it means for that second game. The New York Knicks missing Obi Toppin, and the New York Knicks is always a team that can't necessarily keep it together and play together. So again, that's 3 possible wins for the Chicago Bulls there against a team that's going to be weakened for at least a little while, and they're still trying to figure out their rotations and things like that. The Minnesota Timberwolves, while a matchup nightmare for the Chicago Bulls in a lot of ways, they are going to be missing Karl-Anthony Towns for a little bit of time as well. And that trade just has not worked out in the way that a lot of fans and people speculated and thought that it would. So now with Karl-Anthony Towns missing the next 4 to 6 weeks, this is, again, an opportunity where the Bulls can come in against the Minnesota Timberwolves and make some noise and win that game. Like I said, we got 3 games against 5 out of our next 10 games are against the Atlanta Hawks or the New York Knicks. So right there, winnable games. We also faced the Miami Heat, a team that we started off this season beating, and a team that, it's still, they look better at times, but they are definitely still a beatable team as well. The Dallas Mavericks, Luka's playing at an MVP level. So he's first in the league in scoring, I think 4th in assists as well. So you don't want to overlook the Dallas Mavericks by any stretch of the imagination, but this isn't a winnable stretch of games for the Chicago Bulls. You look at the Houston Rockets, again, a young team that hasn't quite put together. They have nights where they look really good, nights where they look like a team that's going to be good for quite a while, have that potential to. Jabari Smith really starting to come along as a 3-and-D 4 that he was projected to be coming into the league. But again, a very winnable game for the Chicago Bulls. The Milwaukee Bucks, who we face in that 10th game, we all know the Milwaukee Bucks typically own us, but at the end of the day, we did beat this team. We should have some confidence coming into that. And then even coming out of those next 10 games, it does get a little bit more difficult. The Bulls face Detroit, and then 2 games at Cleveland, a home and home in Cleveland to open up January, to end the year and open up in January. Then we face the Brooklyn Nets, who are really starting to put it together. I think they're the number 4 team in the Eastern Conference right now, and the Philadelphia 76ers. So it gets a little bit tougher after this, but these next 10 games could really be the determining factor in the Bulls really just increasing some confidence, right? Playing better overall, getting back over 500. Keep in mind, too, one of the things that I do want to point out, while I know it does feel all doom and gloom so far this season, the Chicago Bulls, even though right now sit at the 12th seed, are only 3 games out of being the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. So I understand, yes, the start of the season has been frustrating. The start of the season, it sucked, right? It sucked. But it's like when you look at it, this is why we play the games. This is why you don't make a decision on a team 24 games into the season, because the Bulls, by any stretch of the imagination, outside of how some sky is falling Bulls fans would have you believe, the season's not done. This team isn't over with. It's not all doom and gloom for the Chicago Bulls team. if they can get their stuff together. It still does rely on them to play better, be coached better, all these things. Like, I'm not taking their ownership and their place in this out of the consideration, but this is the stretch that the Chicago Bulls can really look. They have the second easiest schedule from now until the end of the season. This is where the Bulls need to make their moves. This is where the Bulls need to start playing their best basketball, because if we do see the Bulls play their best basketball, things are going to turn around hugely for the Chicago Bulls. So, again, is it a surefire thing? No. And as we've known, and as I've said, and I'm never going to take away from, in this league, you can never take anything for granted. And then on top of that, when you're the Chicago Bulls and you play up and down to your level of competition, you can never really expect the Bulls to really, or how things are going to work out for the Chicago Bulls, but you can't overlook it either. You can't just count them out as of right now either, because this team is balling. This team seems like they, in the last win, right? This team really seemed like they may have figured some stuff out. Now, we've seen that before. We saw it in the second Boston game, or in the Boston game. We saw it in the second game against the Toronto Raptors. We saw it against the Milwaukee Bucks. We've seen this team look, hell, when they started the season opening up in Miami without Zach LaVine, it seemed like this team was going to do some things. We've seen flashes of it. We need to see that start being consistent. But if the Bulls can start being consistent with that, right, then we this whole season turns around. And I say the whole season, we are 24 games in to the start of the season. The season is still very much in its infancy. Let's stop overreacting. Let's stop doing the knee-jerk reactions. Let's stop having the microwave-type mindsets, and let's see what happens. It doesn't mean, like I said in yesterday's video, the second video yesterday, that's not to say that the Bulls should not and will not look to add some talent to this team. Look to, do some things, right? The full rebuild, the blow it all up, it's not happening. But with this team, better play, really taking a look. AK and Eversley better be evaluating what this team has going on and taking a look at what they can do to help improve this team's stock heading towards the playoffs. But at the end of the day, it's this. The season's not over with yet for the Chicago Bulls. Not by any stretch of the imagination. We are not done. We are not out. It's not all over with, as some Bulls fans will have you think. It's not. I know that this season has put a sour taste in a lot of Bulls fans' mouths, and that's rightfully so, right? I do not want to take away or overlook the fact that a lot of us, we have the right as fans to be pissed off. And I said it. I said it here. I said it over on Locked On Bulls. I'm tired of the lip service from this team. I need to see the proof in the pudding. And at the end of the day, you got to show me. You have to show me. And this team, at least in that last win, showed some things. And I know some fans are going to, but it was without Bradley Beal. They were without Bradley Beal. Hey, listen, you got to take the wins. Would you rather them have lost without Bradley Beal? You got to take the wins where you can get them. And since the Bulls are going to the stretch of the season where they're going to be facing a lot of teams that are missing some key pieces to their rotation, the Bulls can absolutely really kind of improve the season as a whole. Will they do it is the question. Will they do it? Zach LaVine playing some of his best basketball in the last 6 games so far. And I know some fans are going to say, well, it's only 6 games, Hayes. He's only played in 19 games. He only played in 19 games. So because of that, yeah, it's only 6 games, but you want to see some type of progression. Would you rather him be sucking in the last 6 games? Like, I don't understand some of the mindset that some of these fans have. Like, it's like if things go good, you just that's the Joker mindset. Shout out to Joker, right? That if things go good, you just find a way to say, oh well, but they're not this. When things go bad, it's all well, it's well, like, what do you want? What do you want? Right? Zach LaVine over the last 6 games, averaging almost 27 points per game on 50% shooting from the field. He's in the last 10 games of the season. Zach LaVine is top 10 in the league in steals. He's playing some of the best defense of his career. If Zach LaVine can get the shooting underway, if we start seeing a more consistent Zach LaVine with shooting the ball, with the defense that he's been playing this season, Zach LaVine is now that two-way potential that he's had his whole career, right? It seems like the Bulls also have unlocked some more ball movement, having Alex Caruso in that starting lineup. I know some Bulls fans, again, are going to talk about Alex Caruso shooting like he's ever been a volume shooter. He has not been, but it does seem to bring some new energy. We need to get Javonte Green back as well. Don't know what's going on with that. We'll talk about that when we preview the game tomorrow as far as what's going on with Javonte. Hopefully we get an update on that. But it's not all over with for this team. It's not, guys. It's not. If the Bulls are going to make their move, if the Bulls are going to improve the season, if the Bulls are going to get back into that playoff talk early in the season again, because it still will be, This is the time for the Chicago Bulls to start making their move over the next slate of games. Not all of them are easy. Like I said, not at all saying that the Bulls are just going to be able to coast in the next couple of games. They can't. Atlanta still has Trae Young, a player that's a threat to score 50 on you at any point in time. The New York Knicks, still a team that has a better record than the Chicago Bulls, even with their struggles. Still under 500, though. Right? The Miami Heat, yeah, we found some success against them early in the season with that win, but you don't want to take that for granted. And the Bulls play down to their competition. So even the Houston Rockets game that I pointed out, you can't necessarily just assume that's going to be a win either. But here's what I'm saying. This team has talent. We all know that this team has talent. Well, most of us know. Some of us don't. And, that's the fans that are the sky is falling fans, right? We know the talent that this team has. We know what they are capable of if they execute in all four quarters. A big test of that is going to be up against the Dallas Mavericks. So we'll see what the Bulls can do and will do against that team. But otherwise, it's this. Over the next 10 games, the Chicago Bulls can go from being a team below 500 to a team over 500. And that is if they just win the games against the Atlanta and the New York Knicks. And as we know with the Chicago Bulls team, they can do some surprising wins at times against better competition. So let's see what this team ends up bringing. Let's see how they end up playing. Let's evaluate then. It's been a sucky start to the season, but better days may be ahead. It's up to this Bulls team to grab the bull by the horns and make the better days come along. They have to own their own future. They have to play better. They have to continue playing as a team. They have to stop the heavy isolation. There's still going to be times of isolation, but this team has to get it together. Will they over the next 10 games? Let me know what you guys think about that down below. What you think about what the winnable games are. Can the Bulls also take advantage of teams that have major injuries in the Eastern Conference? The Eastern Conference is extremely tight. It's tight right now. Like I said, the Bulls at the 12th seed, only 3 games back from being the number 4 seed, which avoids the play-in. I'm not saying that it's just going to be easy to obtain that, but there is a chance. Let me know what you guys think on everything down below. Make sure you're also following the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text and or voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related because of you guys. We are the only true daily channel here and podcast in general for the Chicago Bulls. We drop episodes 7 days a week. So make sure you guys are tuned in. You're the best part of the channel. And like I like to end everything on, go Bulls. Love you guys and see red, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.